All right, everybody, welcome back. What is going on? You know what time it is. You know what it's all about. We've got more offensive coordinator candidates to look at. I'm going to be hitting the gas with these videos for the next couple of days because, again, it sounds like Seattle's going to move pretty quickly here. And it also sounds like they're going to promote in-house. So, again, I'm going to continue with the in-house options. We've got two more. We did two yesterday. Go watch those videos if you didn't already. So we have another guy who was on the staff in 2025 who is on the list to maybe get the offensive coordinator promotion. So this video is going to be all about Justin Outten, a reasonable option if the Seahawks want to promote in-house. He's been an offensive coordinator before technically, although we'll get to that. And he was the run game specialist for the team in 2025, as well as assistant offensive line coach. So hopefully he has the right priorities. All right, guys, hold up because my friends at Sleeper are introducing some new features and I want to tell you guys about them before we go any further. Sleeper is launching Team Picks, a new prediction market product. So now, on top of all the over-unders you can pick over on their Sleeper app, you can now pick on games. For instance, if you take a look to my left on the screen right now, you can see you can make a pick on the Super Bowl. They also have some bonuses available on over-unders for players. So there's now way more stuff you can get up to over on Sleeper. Get on over there before the Super Bowl, and don't forget to use the promo code SBN for a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. And don't forget to utilize the free $20 entry that you get just for making an account. So the Super Bowl is almost here. Make sure you get on Sleeper and have some fun with sports. All right, so Justin Outten, 42 years old. So pretty young. Again, doesn't really matter in this instance, but 2025 was on the Seahawks staff as a run game specialist, assistant OL coach. And what can be said about those things in 2025? The Seahawks were top 10 in rushing yards with almost 2,100. However, their EPA was pretty bad, negative 0.076, which was 22nd in the league, so well below average. One thing I will say, though, is that it got better as the year went on. And by the end of the year, especially in the playoffs, it was a pretty big part of their Super Bowl run. So Justin Outten, maybe he didn't do such a great job throughout the course of the year, but as he got more time to work with the running game that we had, it got a lot better. And look, he produced a Super Bowl MVP at the running back position, which hasn't been done in almost 30 years. So something went right. And Pro Football Focus ranked our offensive line 15th in the league. So for whatever you want to take from that, I mean, that's okay, especially given where it's been the last couple of years. So pretty good. All right. Before 2025, he was the Tennessee Titans tight ends coach for 1 year, 2024. And the tight ends that the Titans had that year, and obviously they were a terrible team that year, but they had a Okonkwo, who I like, who had a 52 catch, 480 yard, 2 touchdown season in 2024. And then Josh Weil had 28 catches and 250 yards as the backup. So not bad, right? I mean, the Titans offense was obviously abysmal, so getting anything out of anybody is notable, but good production from the tight ends. And the year before that in Tennessee, he was the running back coach and the run game coordinator. So 2023, this was the final year of Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. They went 6-11. They were not a good team, but they had Derrick Henry. And they actually had a nice running back pairing. You had Derrick Henry, who ran for almost 1,200 yards. It was not his best year or anything, but 12 touchdowns, caught 28 passes. And behind Derrick Henry, they had Tyjae Spears, who gave you about 4.5 yards a carry on 100 carries, but he was also a really good receiving back, 52 catches. So it was a nice 1-2. And for a bad team, the Titans did run for a lot of yards. They ran for 1,850 yards, which was 17th in the league. Rush EPA was negative 0.078, which is 13th in the league, so slightly above average. That's good for a team that isn't winning games. 6-11, I mean, that usually you're not going to run the ball much when you're bad like that. So it's pretty good, honestly. Okay, so 2022 was the 1 year he was the offensive coordinator. Unfortunately, it was for the 2022 Denver Broncos, and also I believe it was I believe he was only really the offensive coordinator for the last 2 games of the year. Now, obviously, we all know about the 2022 Broncos. They had the worst offense in the league by points. They were bottom 5 by EPA, negative .078 overall EPA. That was the Russell Wilson, Nathaniel Hackett year where nothing went right and they were awful. Now, I do know that Outten became the play caller for the last 2 games of the year, which were actually 2 games where the Broncos offense did fairly well. They played a close game against the Chiefs, and then they beat the Chargers, although I think it was the Chargers not really they had already clinched everything. They weren't trying that hard, but it was still better than anything we had seen from the Broncos that year. So maybe there's something there, but it's just 2 games. It's just 2 games, and I would not bet my future on that, right? It's a start. It's better than nothing, but it's not great. Okay. So before Denver, he was the tight end coach for 3 years with the Green Bay Packers under LaFleur. So he kind of launched his career. Well, I don't want to say that, but he did kind of get his bones under Shanahan in Atlanta, and then he stuck around under, I think they had Steve Sarkisian after Shanahan, and then he went to Green Bay with LaFleur, and he was the tight end coach there for 3 years. 2021, this was the year Robert Tonyan got hurt and didn't play that much, so they didn't really get a lot out of their tight ends. Josiah DeGuara, I don't know who that is. I don't remember that player at all. 25 catches, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they also had old man Mercedes Lewis, 23 catches, 214 yards. Now, the year before that, he actually had a really nice tight end. It was Robert Tonyan. He played most of the year, and he gave you almost 600 yards and 11 touchdowns. So that was really good. He kind of developed and discovered and got a lot out of Robert Tonyan. And then 2019, they had old man Jimmy Graham as their featured tight end, about 40 catches, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. So not much to say there, but Robert Tonyan is definitely kind of his big landmark win from this era, I guess you could say. All right, so now we peel it back to the Atlanta Falcons. He was the offensive assistant for 2 years. This was post Shanahan. They still had Dan Quinn, and I think their OC was Sarkisian. And they had an okay offense both years. 2018, they were top 10, 25.9 points per game. And their EPA was actually 6th, so that's borderline elite, .083. And 2017, 15th in points, 22.1, not great. And then EPA was .047, which was 8th. So there are some indications they were a little bit better than their point per game results. And in 2016, which is the year the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, he was the coaching intern. And this was, of course, the year the Falcons had an incredible offense, almost 34 points per game, .196 EPA. So first in both. So that's a good feather in the cap. But again, coaching intern, offensive assistant, how much are you going to take away from that? At the end of the day, it's a guy who doesn't have a ton of experience in the NFL and only a couple games of calling plays. But the appeal is that as a run game specialist and offensive line coach last year, he would know where the bread is buttered and he would stick to the run, which is important. So we do have that. Is that enough? See you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming soon. Let me know what you think of Outten and keep it moving.